All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I got one person here with me. Good morning, everybody. All right, well, we're going to get this started. Who here is excited about business planning in 2022? Wow, crazy people everywhere. So if you guys remember, about 2 years ago, 2020 was the year of vision. You guys hear that? Everyone was starting off, and this is going to, 2020 vision, that was the pun, you know, and it was going to be a great year, and we're going to do great business and great planning. Did agents still sell a lot of houses in 2020? Yeah. They did, right? Why do you think that they chose to do? That's exactly the point. So they were forced into doing some type of activity. How about 2021? Was it a good year for real estate? Yeah. Why? Because they were in the habit, right? I mean, they were out there meeting with people. We dealt with Zoom. Who here met a client completely through Zoom? Okay, a number of people did. And was that workable? Right? You could do it. It happened. Will Zoom just go away next year when everything changes?
No.
You think it'll be part of our lives forever?
Yep.
Did it make your business easier at all?
Yeah.
Why?
You don't have to leave the house.
Say again?
You don't have to leave the house.
You don't have to leave the house, right? I didn't have to shower. It was a benefit for sure. What else did it do for you? Come on, we're going to require a lot of participation today. It'll be a little bit different. Flexibility, absolutely flexible. Access to more people because I could meet with people easier for sure. What else did it do?
CE classes.
CE classes. He liked taking CE, you know, you could just sit in bed and take a CE class. That was a good way to do it for sure. There was a lady who went through a drive-through at Taco Bell on a CE class. It was pretty cool. Here's what I think it did. It changed my process to make my process simplistic because I really didn't have to go out of my comfort zone anymore. I could sit in my office and I could have buyer or seller consultations, and I controlled everything that they saw, right? Every single piece that was presented on my computer, I controlled. And so who here would like to control their buyer or seller presentation? I absolutely would. And was it about a house anymore or about them? A lot of the times we get focused on a property that they came and called us about, and we talk about that and talk about that, but we never talk about them. And during this pandemic, it caused a lot of agents to have to get out. Looks pretty typical, huh?
Very solid.
Very solid. I got a lot of, we're going to talk about business planning and kind of the steps to get to the perfect business plan. But before we do that, let's talk about wants and needs. Who here has a new listing or a buyer that has a need? Who wants to tell me?
I have a buyer who has a need up to 750, whole, 5 bedrooms.
In Summerlin?
It could be, basically, they're not that specific. We've already had 2 offers turned down, so they're a little frustrated.
750 with a pool, okay. Who has a new listing?
I've got a great condo.
He has a great condo.
3 stories, 700.
Do you have a listing?
I have a listing. It's a condo. It's got 2 lofts in it.
You still have that listing? What's the price now?
It is $135.
With a new AC unit?
Brand new air conditioning. Yes, it's beautiful.
Commission 10% now? Yeah, 10% co-op. Anyone else have a listing? It's downtown.
Down by UNLV, right?
Downtown?
Yeah, hi, we have a listing back on the market. It's in Providence, single story, 44 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, 600,000.
Very cool. Oh, anybody else before I let it go? All right, fantastic. Let's welcome up Shelly with Prosperity. Shelly's going to tell us about 2 new loan programs. Give it up for Shelly.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Come on, guys. Every morning. Happy Tuesday. Thank you. Okay. Because they say when you're most enthusiastic, you're really, really listening. So, okay. So a couple things which I actually learned from one of our newest loan officers, Miss Miriam. Miriam, say hi to everybody. Prosperity Lending. Hi. Okay, so she taught me that you can actually do a VA loan with a non-VA borrower. I know, right? You want to come up and talk about it for 5 seconds? Because Chris is going to kick us off in 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute or less, okay? 10 minutes or less.
5 minutes.
It's not my business plan.
Right. So we're used to having the VA borrower only being able to go on there either with another veteran or their spouse. In this case, you don't have to. There's a couple caveats to it, but basically the second borrower does have to put down 50% of the entitlement. So that's the only thing, the only down payment they have to put down. So
Well, one of the borrowers has to be a veteran.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Borrower one does have to be better.
Awesome. Yeah, so,
Okay, so for VA financing, you either have to be active military or discharged, honorably discharged, yourself and a spouse, right? You can have two VA entitled people, they don't have to be married, who purchase a property. And now in this particular case, you can have a veteran and a non-veteran, or a VA borrower and a non-VA borrower purchase a home, right? The benefit for VA financing is the no MI, lower down payment. So it'll still be a lower down payment, no mortgage insurance, but they do have to occupy the property as primary residence. That's still the same. Cool? Something else that we've just learned as well is for FHA financing. So 3.5% down is your traditional, right? That's down to a 580 credit score. It used to be that at a 560 credit score, you could actually offer a 10% down payment. They've actually lowered that FICO score requirement. Beta, can you see me? I'm sorry. They lowered that FICO score requirement from 500 to 579 to put 10% down. So if you have a borrower who is having credit challenges right now, they can actually put down, and I've had some clients call and say, hey, I have a lot of money, but I have really bad credit. If they're in a 500 to 579 and they're able to put 10% down, they can qualify for a for FHA financing. Cool? The other thing I want to chat about as we are in the spirit of business planning is we're getting ready for like my half printed wrong way. I'm really good at that stuff. Okay, so Wheels Up 2022. I'm actually going to be teaching a class in the West office, the Spanish Ridge office. It's going to be right after our potluck on the 17th. It's from 1 to, it'll go into happy hour. The goal is to take what you're learning today from all the business planning. We're going to go through all of the pillars. We're going to implement a process. You're going to walk out of there with ways for you to achieve 6 figures or more. We're going to put those plans in place, follow your pillars, give you the activities, but even more. At the very, very end, we're going to have happy hour. And how many of you like to create vision boards? Okay, we're gonna level this up. How many of you like to prospect? Everybody? Nobody likes to prospect? What the heck? Happy Tuesday, everyone! Okay, so we're gonna make a vision prospecting board. So I have bought everybody remember back in, well, if you have little kids, you know the little presentation boards that you have 3 sides to it. So we're going to have the prospecting, which is going to have your scripting. We're going to have your affirmations on there. We're going to have a mirror on there because you're supposed to smile when you're on the phone. And then we're going to have your vision board added on there. So be prepared to walk out of there with your business plan, your actions, and an amazing vision and prospecting board. This is going to be November 17th from 1 to 4. I'm actually collecting a fee, but all proceeds are going to go to Signature Strong, and it's $25. I'm going to limit it to, I think, 25 people. And if we get an overflow of people, we're actually going to bring it to the Green Valley office. But don't count on it because I want you guys to register. Cool?
Very cool.
Any questions at all? 10 minutes or less?
You said November 17th from 1 to 4?
Yes, 1 to 6, because those of you who want to stay and do the happy hour, that will be there. It'll be after the event.
Very cool.
Cool? All right. Any questions for me? Nobody wants to know if I can speak any faster? Just kidding. All right, you guys have an amazing week.
Thank you, Shelly. Give it up for Shelly. Okay, so can everyone see this board except for Tom? Yes, okay, good. First off, why do I business plan? Jason, thank you to the lender who's going to answer my question. It's really nice for you all to be here.
Business plan because you always want to see where you're going. You don't want to just blindly try to get to your location. If you can see where you're going and visualize and say it,
Yep.
there's a good chance you're going to reach it.
Yep, we had a great presentation a couple of months back about visualizing what you want to have happen. It's amazing when you visualize it and say it, then if you create a plan around it, it's more apt to happen. But how do I know where I'm going if I haven't verified where I've been? So has anyone ever sourced their real estate business? Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
So this year I did 45, yeah, he knows what I mean. This year I did 45 transactions, and the question is, where did they all come from? Where did each one of these individuals that trusted me with the biggest financial purchase or sale of their life, where did they come from? So what I like to do is I like to create my own business family tree. I take all 45 people and I put them on a board, and you should see my office. There's boards all over the wall with things that I've written on them. And I take each one of those individuals and say, what activity or person created this opportunity for my business? Where does most of your business probably come from? Sphere of influence? So have you ever sourced the person that's providing you with the most income? So what I found out is certain people in my life consistently have provided me with a lot of business. Funny enough, I come from a real estate family. So when I created my database, I couldn't prospect my parents for real estate deals because they wouldn't give me any. They were selling them themselves. But I realized that my other family members, it was free game. We were going to compete against each other for family business, right? And so my aunt, who was a nurse, would say, I can't give you my deal, but I'll tell the people around me about you, and I'll give you those opportunities. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. She's a nurse. She runs into people all the time. Some of them make it. And so the whole thing is, she's there every day talking about me. And when that person says real estate, she provides me with the opportunity. And so when I went back to my 45 people, it was amazing that 4 or 5 of those people every year came from her. Now the question is, if I knew those 4 or 5 people came from her, what would I do with her the following year?
Take her to dinner.
Take her to dinner. I would change the experience she had, and I would share with her the whole process that these people are going through, because I'm selling the sizzle of my business. I'm selling her on the fact that by her doing this, they had a great experience that put them in the perfect home. And do people love to give great referrals? Have you ever referred somebody that does work for you, like a contractor or a landscaper, when you can find a landscaper that's great? Mine doesn't show up every once in a while. And so we're always out there looking for new vendors. But they love it when a great vendor shows up. And so by selling that process of where these people came from, I'm able to take my plan, as Jason mentioned, and I'm able to focus my plan and my dollars where they're going to generate the most business. If 70% of your database provided you with 45 deals, would you go give all your money to Zillow? No, that'd be the dumbest business decision ever. You should do more things circled around your database because they're giving you 70% of your dollars. Now, I'm not saying don't diversify. We're going to talk in a minute about business pillars, but until you really know where your business comes from, it's really hard to plan where it's going. So what number do you put on a business plan when you decide what you're going to plan for? What do you come up with, $1 million? Brand new agent walks into the company, well, how much you want to make? $300,000. Haven't sold a house yet, have you? Nope. Okay, we're going to work through that one together. What do you put?
4 escrows a month.
4 escrows a month? How'd you come up with that number? Feels pretty good?
No, that number gives me an income I can live with.
Okay. I like Ellie's income goals for sure. But he does 4 deals a month. And so the question is, if he does 4 deals a month and he decides to plan for 4 deals a month, is that good or bad? Doesn't matter, it's his plan, right? The other point I've noticed in my business is I like doing 4 deals a month, but I just don't want to have to work harder at the 4 deals a month. I'd rather work easier. I've had people plan for retirement in real estate. You know that's the thing in real estate, people don't retire from it, they just sell less houses, right? The whole point is your plan can have as many moving parts as you want, but unless you actually write it out with financial goals and activities, it'll never happen. So this sales meeting is only going to be about sources of business, really, and about the way to kind of generally create your business. Todd is going to teach a sales meeting about the numbers and how to take the prospecting activities and create that business for you. So what did I say was the core of my business? Okay, so let's put that up here. Who here, put that at the top, who here has a database, an SOI, a sphere of influence that they're extremely proud of? Okay? How long did it take you to get it? Shelly, how long did it take you to build your sphere of influence?
4 and today, 5 years.
5 years, okay. Why so long?
Slow.
How many people do you think you have in it?
I actually have 775 in my database.
Wow, 775 people that fill their, how many do you have in yours? How many do you have in yours?
Just over 200.
200, okay. Ellie, how many do you have in yours?
About 300.
300, 4 deals a month. Who else wants to tell their number? Roy, how many do you have in yours?
I have 4,000.
4,000?
Doesn't mean that they're active, but I just haven't brought them to.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's why I didn't raise my hand.
It's okay.
I've done that part of it.
I hired a brand new agent. This is absolute truth. I hired a brand new agent that came from the club promoting industry. His name was Mark. He was a great guy. He was out there every day. Imagine promoting clubs on the strip You know, and the time you go to work is 9 o'clock at night to like 3 in the morning, right? And he's out there meeting people, collecting cards, collecting info. He came to his real estate business with 55,000 contacts. Now, I didn't say sphere of influence, I said 55,000 contacts. Do you really know 55,000 people really well?
Nope. No.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, come on. I got 4,300 people on my Facebook page, and we're all best friends. Right? How many people do you really know on your Facebook page?
1%?
1%? I think that's probably a really good number that I really, really know pretty well. If I needed money, if I needed those Apple gift cards, how many people would actually respond to the message that was sent out? So the whole point is, where do I start? I'm in this business now almost 20 years, and my database has been in shambles many, many, many times. I've sold, I don't know how many hundreds of homes. The downside was a lot of those homes were sold to companies that were selling them because they were foreclosures. And I met a lot of asset managers that were really nice people, but they don't work for those banks anymore. Tom, how many asset managers do you think you've met in your lifetime?
Several hundred.
Several hundred. This guy should have the biggest REO contract right now in history, if there were any REOs. But my whole point is that most people have their database in some horrible position. It's in a notebook that you never look at. It's in an address book that you can't find. It's on that computer that sits in your garage. It's that job that you worked 25 years ago. So my whole thing is start this year off right. Find 100 people with a name, phone number, email address, and a physical address, and put them in one place where you can find them. Do you want to know the easiest way to do this? Anyone here remember index cards when you were a kid? I kid you not, if you ask Lindsay and walk into my office, I have 3,000 index cards sitting on a desk that I have to fill out. Now I have about 100 of them done, but the whole point is that that is the easiest way for me to sit down with all of my forms of information and put it into one place that I can actually touch and see and feel, so that she can then take it and put it into all the great systems that I have. But start over. If you don't have a good database, if it's not where you want it to be, start over with 100, because here's what we know to be true. If I have 100 people, and here's the scary part, okay? I don't want anyone to leave. Don't get upset. If I have 100 people that I'm communicating with on a regular basis, the 10% rule says that I will get 10% of those people as an opportunity for my real estate business. So what's 10% of 100? 10 deals. And my market has stopped working. 10 deals. That's 10% of 100. 10 deals. Can I live off of 10 deals? Hey, listen, I couldn't live off of 10 deals in 2010, but I could probably live off of 10 deals in 2022 because the median price has gone up to $406,000, and we're all taking 3% listings, or excuse me, 7% listings, and we're keeping 3% at least. And so how much is that? 3 and 4 is 12. So 12,000 times 10 is what? 120. Could someone live off $120,000?
A month?
Not Ellie, but I could. Not very well, but it would be a business. But I need 100 people to make that at least happen. Now, do you get every opportunity you go out for?
No.
Are you the best real estate agent out there?
Yes.
I like that you answered yes, because it always should be a yes. The whole point is I'm probably going to screw up a few of them. And it's not them, it's me, right? We didn't see eye to eye. They wanted it for less. They wanted to price their property, too much. So I need way more transactions. I love what Ellie said, 4 deals a month. 4 deals a month times 12 is how many? 48 deals, right? How many people would I have to have in my database to hit 48 opportunities? 480. So the question is, to get to 480, and the number I usually use is 100, how long would it take you right now, with every source at your disposal, every Facebook page, every Instagram, the people in your family?
Hello? Mama. Mama's calling.
My phone has never rang.
$5.
It's actually a client. I'm kind of excited.
Oh, wait.
How long would it take you to get to 480? You really worked hard at it every day like a job. Huh? A week? You could do it in a week?
Wow.
I believe it. With 4,000 contacts, you could do it in a day. You could. So how long would you need to do this? She said a week.
A month for sure.
Okay, no one said a year. That's a good sign. right? I think about 2 weeks. If every day your job was just this, and you came in to make it happen, and you actually got 400 living and breathing people that you could reach out to and talk to, could you make it happen in 2 weeks? Now here's what you're gonna say next, but Chris, my database isn't here in Las Vegas. But Chris, I'm from somewhere else, and those people, they have other agents there where they're located. Does it matter where these people live?
No.
Why not? That's the best word in real estate, referrals. Why are referrals the best? Because I don't have to do a whole lot, right? I act like a concierge. I connect one person with another person. I make sure they like each other, and I get a check in the mail. It's a great job. Okay, so the 480 is great, and if you're someone that came from a great business like Roya, you had an amazing setup with the chamber, you met 4,000 people. I didn't have that. I actually went down the road of meeting real estate agents because I thought that was a good idea, but none of them have given me a deal lately. By the way, I probably get 3% of my business every year from real estate agents. Believe that. So the question is, how else do I find these people? Where do I start to look? Your phone, okay? Because we put random people in our phone all the time. Who are the people you're with all the time? Other realtors. We're going to go with family.
Oh, yeah, them too.
If you don't have one, get one. Okay? Your family should be a major source of your business, and I hear from agents a lot of time, I don't want to bother my family. Let's not bother the people economically invested in my success, right? Do you think if I told my daughter that if I sold more houses, she'd get more stuff, she would be economically invested in what I'm doing? Do you think she'd be a big motivator of what I'm doing? Do you think she'd be a good accountability partner to what I'm doing? There's certain reasons I don't tell my wife what I do, right? She just figured it out one day. Where do I go after family?
Friends.
Okay, some of you have some. Okay, and how do you make friends? Hi, I'm Chris, really nice to meet you. Can we be friends? There are people that you've known your entire life, right? She said no. There are people you've known your entire life that you literally don't want to bother about your real estate business because it may be too intrusive. Does that make any sense for sales? Where do I go after family and friends? Church. Okay? I go to a church. I have a network of people that I'm involved in, and I see them on a repetitive basis, and we get to know each other. That's a sphere of influence, right? Where did you spend most of your time as a kid? Forgive my writing. A big majority of my database came from a school that I went to from 1st grade through 12th grade. And what's amazing is I see real estate agents get in the business all the time that are brand new to real estate that say, well, none of those kids I went to school with have any money. That could be true. And they're out in the world working to get some. When do you think it's better to start the relationship? When they get some or now? Now, right? But who has money? Their parents, their family, their friends, their sphere of influence. And so the whole point is you all went to school somewhere. And is that something that you have in common with those people that you feel good about when you talk about it? Is it something that's easy to open a conversation about because you have that in common? So is this it? Family, friends, church, and school? You guys live really boring lives.
Past jobs.
Gym.
Past jobs, the gym. One that is not in my database, but I love the answer. Thank you very much.
The bank.
The bank, right? The grocery store. How do you... I love this. I was at a grocery store a couple years back, the Albertsons off of Durango. And one of those agents, with the name badges on, came walking past me, and I didn't say anything. I'm not like, hey, I'm in real estate too, good to see you. And then we're going down an aisle, and this is before aisles had one way. We're going down an aisle, and another guy comes down the aisle, and he's got his name badge on, and they were going to clash in the middle, I thought. And so I'm watching this happen, and this lady walks down, and they're kind of following her, and she gets to the meat section that we're all standing in, and she's talking to her friend about buying a house. And it was like amazing to see these two agents turn around, and they heard it. And they both went up and handed her their business card and said, hey, I'm a realtor, I'd love to help you with buying the house. How likely are you to turn around in a restaurant or store and tell someone you're a real estate agent?
Every time.
Come on. Come on. I've been to bars with you before. I don't know every time you've turned around and said something. Right? I'm hanging out in the bars with all the realtors. They're just seeing what's happening. I had a coach one time, Todd and I both had the same coach, and he put us through this exercise, and I gotta tell you, it was the biggest life-changing experience in my real estate business. He said the problem with most agents when they're going to planning or doing anything is they're secret agents. They never really are conditioned to tell people what they do for a living or how they make their money. And he says, so I have a task for you. For 7 days, and this is the honor system, for 7 days, and you're not a liar, remember, you have to talk to everyone you come in contact with that ever comes up to you or you meet or you see that's not a realtor, and you have to ask them, do they want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And he goes, and I mean every person, every point of contact. Will you do it? And of course, there's a whole group of people, and I said, sure. I was really scared about it. I didn't really want to do it, but I did it. So that night I go to dinner with my parents, who are both realtors, and my wife. And we sit down and we're having dinner. It was at Green Valley Ranch someplace. And I knew it was coming because the waiter walked up to the table and he says, what do you want to drink? And we started ordering our drinks, and he got to me and I said, I want an iced tea and real estate. And the look on my parents' face was really funny. They're like, oh, how cute, right? And sure enough, he looks at me and says, well, I'm not really looking, but I would like to lease something until I could buy. And I just kind of looked at him and I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, and by the way, my roommate's also looking, but I think we'll just do something together until we're both able to buy. And I'm like, really? The whole point was, if I had never been conditioned to say that and I never went through this, would I have ever asked? How many people do you pass in your daily lives that could be here in your database that aren't because of that? Right? It's scary, it's staggering. I made it through the entire week, by the way. And I gotta tell you, I had a crap load of business after that week, and what do you think I did the next week? Anything but that. I took a week off, okay? But the whole point was, that's how I broadened the base of people I was looking for. I'm gonna give you some other examples. If you go door knocking, right? Door knocking is the most effective, fastest way to get business right now. But when you knock on that door and that person doesn't want to buy or sell right now, and you meet them and you get their info, where do they go? Do they go back to your database? Hopefully. How about when you hold that open house and the person walks in and they said, oh, we just bought a house. Oh, we're sorry. It's nice to meet you. Stay in touch. Do you? Do you know the majority of people that buy new homes have no representation? I used to love to hold open houses in new home communities because the people that were coming through that lived in the neighborhood bought the home with the sales rep at the builder, not with an agent. But they were free game. They had no allegiances, right? So my whole point is, there are probably 50 places, if you sat down and really thought about it, in your life of your kid's school, your social groups that you're part of, your family social groups that they're part of, that if you just sat down and wrote the list, you would have plenty of people to place in your database. Okay, let's move a step forward. Now they're in your database. This is exciting. You got 400 people. What do you do with them now?
Stay in front.
Yeah. Who said drip to them? The lender again. I like the idea, but remember, drips are where leads go to what? Die. Because it's not you. It's just info. I had a client one time that told me that they were on 35 drips from other real estate agents. Now, if I have them on a drip and I do what? Call them. Does it make the drip more effective? Okay, how often should I call them? Once a year at least. To condition you to give me business, how often do I need to call you? Okay, quarterly is way more effective than yearly. I would probably argue that if I'm brand new to this, if it's the first time you've been here and I haven't shown you any love, I need to be with you every single month. Now, as soon as I say that, I can hear you thinking, what am I going to talk to them about?
How do you feel about videos?
I love videos. Love videos. But I think the whole thing is, what do I talk to them about? Life, yeah. How are your kids? How's your family? How's your dog? What do I sell? What's the craziest thing going on in the world right now? The real estate market, right? What are they out telling their friends about the real estate market? How many times have you had a client come into your office and tell you the dumbest thing you've ever heard about the real estate market? Where do they get that info? From their cousin Bob Billy, who sits in the office that has a real estate license, hasn't sold a house in 25 years. He thinks he knows the marketplace. You're here every day learning about it. Talk to them about them and the real estate market. What are their financial goals? If I went to Thomas and said, Thomas, I want to be your real estate agent for life. After he got done laughing, what the hell does that mean? I want to sell you every property you're ever going to buy. And so we're going to set out a plan right now to take you from here to the king of the Monopoly board. And I'm going to call you every month to go over the plan. Does that sound like a plan? Is that way more effective than, hey, it's Chris, just checking in. Remember me? Okay, so you have these people and they're calling them every month. What else should you do? He said video. Video texts are extremely effective because they can be you when you don't want to be. Hey, it's Chris, just thinking of you. Hope you see you soon. Bye. If you sent me that in a text, would it be weird?
Well, it depends.
It depends, right? I mean, like out of the blue, I just send you a video text with no meaning behind it. Just, hey, it's Chris, I'm a real estate agent, call me when you can. But if I set up that I'm going to do this every month and I'm going to stay in front of you and I'm going to talk about what, then would it start to make sense? If I called you every month, if I sent you a text every month, if I emailed you every month, what would you think?
You're actually
Okay, some people will call the police. That's okay, by the way. I need to sell them homes as well, right? Most people would actually think, wow, you're really putting some time into me. I better get you to stop before it gets expensive, right? That's what people think. They think that they're going to have to start paying us for what we do. Wouldn't that be great if that's how it worked? You know the difference between a realtor and a taxi? Taxis get paid and tipped. You'll get that later. Okay, so the whole point is I have this group, I have my database that I'm focused on, that I'm working with, and if I get those people in there, 50 to 60% of my business came from that group of people. Do I just get it to 400 and let it stay for forever? What's the goal?
grow it.
Grow it to what? Infinite, right? Funny enough, this one thing is the only thing that has real value, real intrinsic value in my real estate business that I could package it someday and sell it. Just show of hands real quick. Who has a database? Raise your hand. If I gave you $50,000 right now, would you sell me your database?
Sure.
In life, there's takers and givers, right? The whole point is, if I gave you $50,000 and told you you couldn't call them anymore, that only I could call them, and I took your business, would I make $50,000 from your business?
Yes.
For some of you, I really wouldn't. Not only would I make $50,000, but I'd make several $100,000 because I have a plan to work them. But what did I just need? I only needed the people. How many real estate agents in Southern Nevada? 16,000. They all got in the business because they love people, right? But all 16,000, if you think about it, 40,000 deals a year that are done, divided among 16,000 people, everyone's not doing 3 deals, but everyone knows people. And so if I had a database that I got up to 2,000 people that I could really show analytics on and say, out of these 2,000 people, I create 200 opportunities a year. Out of those 200 opportunities, we close 150 deals. Would you write me a check for that right now? You might. If you were a real business owner that had the money to do it, you absolutely would. There's a team in Texas that sold their database for $15 million. They were very happy about the results, right? Okay, from here, the question is, I can only spend so much time, Chris, on my database. Where do I go from there? And so this leads me to my other 2 pillars. Every day, if I'm an aggressive, productive real estate agent, I need to be hunting. What do I mean by hunting? Okay, prospecting for what? Now business. If I were going to say to you right now, tell me the most aggressive form of prospecting, what is it? Door knocking. Why is it the most aggressive form of prospecting? It's active prospecting. I am out in the marketplace knocking on doors and I've trapped the people in their homes. Right? I mean, that's hunting. I'm going to go over a list in just a minute of quick hunting activities, but hunting is great because I can do it every day for a series of time and it will generate business for me. The other side of that is farming. Does anyone here have an actual farm that they work? I don't mean like, with pitchforks or anything like that. I mean like a real estate farm. Anybody? We've got a few people that do it. Why not? You don't like people? Here's what I know about real estate farms. I can target specifically a series of homes. Let's say I'm going to be a new farmer, so I'm only going to do 100 homes because I'm not going to go farm 10,000 acres because that's how you go broke. I'm going to get 100 homes and I'm going to get some market share. And if I knew in advance how many homes every year sell in that neighborhood, and I could prove it through the analytics, and this home was 10% turnover, and there were 10 opportunities every year, would you invest in that farm? What's the best part about farming? It's repetitive business. As long as I plant the crop every year and I cultivate it and I water it, every single year I get business from it. And if every single year I could create an opportunity to get 5 to 6 deals for a few $1,000s, does that pencil as a business? So why don't agents farm?
They don't plan.
They don't plan. They unfortunately are lazy, but they're not repetitive. The biggest problem that agents have in our business is they don't form good habits, so they don't farm. Because it means every single month I got to do it. Now the downside of farming is it takes probably 10 to 12 months to get market share so the farm will start turning over with you. Are you guys ready to invest in 10 to 12 months of your business? Now I know there are agents that may not be here in 10 to 12 months, and it's because they didn't do any of these things. But the whole point is that I'm going to have residual business, I got to have my hunting and farming activities. Does that make sense? Any questions on what I just said or the setup of your pillars?
Okay, so I'm out and I'm door knocking. Now, I may get people, and I will, you know.
You will, yep.
Okay. So sometimes I'm able to talk with someone long enough to get their information. Other times it's just a very cold, get out my face, like that.
Yep.
So it's like, to keep building, like you're saying, this I'm trying to figure out another way of wording, because maybe it's my delivery.
Sure.
I figure my delivery isn't as effective right now, so I need to tweak that.
So let's digest what you just said, because that is, thank you for sharing that, by the way. And for those of you that are at home, she said, you know, if I door knock on the door, I get some people that are nice, and I get some people that slam the door in my face, and I get other people that are just downright mean, right? And is it me or my delivery? So number one, let me just put a myth away. If you door knock 10,000 doors a month, it's impossible for you not to get business. Did you hear what I just said? It's impossible for you not to get business. Robert, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. Your previous career, you did what?
Door knocking.
Door knocking. Come up here for a minute. Come here. I want you to share this, because this is what floored me. I had met this kid, not this kid. I met a kid that knocked on my door that was selling ADT. So these are alarm systems, right? And funny enough, here's the guy that was training most of these guys, right here, Robert. Robert, stand right there. He's a great specimen. So Robert spent his career door knocking, going door to door selling alarm systems, right? What was the average cost of an alarm system?
Average cost is about $800 to $900.
Okay, $800 to $900. So he's trying to get $800 to $900 from me door to door. Did you know how many doors you had to knock before you'd sell an alarm system?
Yeah, once you got to be good, your ratio is about maybe 5 to 6 people and you get a deal.
Okay.
Once you get to be high level.
Okay, so he said that every 5 to 6 people he would get a deal to sell them an $800 or $900 alarm system, right? What about when you first started? What were your numbers like?
40, 50.
40 or 50 doors to get an $800 or $900 alarm system. So how did you know that?
By doing it, and I just, back in the day, I would write in a notebook and track my numbers that way before all the apps all came about.
So let's mark what he just said. He would track his numbers. That's pretty damn important if you want to get good at something. You've got to track the numbers of what you're doing. So if he door knocked 40 doors when he first started, he didn't have a good script yet. He had a good script, but he wasn't good at it. He hadn't internalized it. He didn't know all of their objections and how to handle it. But he did know one thing. If he door knocked 40 doors, he'd get one sale. So how many doors did you knock when you first started?
We started about probably early in the morning, 9, 10 o'clock, and then would cut out probably sometimes when it would get dark, 10, 12 hours a day, and probably 100 doors a day.
Just real quick, just show of hands. Anyone door knocking 10 to 12 hours a day, just out of curiosity's sake? Okay, just making sure for the context of the conversation. So how much money could you make as a great salesman selling alarms? I mean, 7 figures?
No,
6 figures?
I wouldn't say 7. 100,000, 150 is probably a top producer in the alarm industry.
Okay. $150,000 in the alarm industry door knocking when you get to your level, 6 doors. And so the whole point was, I mean,
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game, right? Robert, thank you very much for sharing that. Give Robert a round of applause.
In our industry, that same method remains.
Yeah. So here's what's really ironic about what Robert just told us. Robert told us that he entered an industry that he really didn't know a lot about, but he knew that he could make money. And when he first had a door knock, a lot of doors, 40. And 1 out of 40, Robert, would you screw up the script all the time? Why did that one person give you the alarm system? Did you just wear them down?
No,
You just happen upon someone that's like, oh my God, I hope someone shows up today to sell me an alarm system.
they really didn't know that you were screwing up. That was the key. They don't know the pitch, so therefore they don't know if you were on point or not.
So Robert's point was, it was his script, they didn't know it, so they didn't know he was screwing it up, right? But I would probably argue that the biggest thing was your ability to overcome their objections,
Sure, as you got better, yeah.
right? So here's the point of this. All of these activities rely on what? They rely on your action and you tracking your numbers. And to his whole point, the most aggressive form of prospecting was knocking doors, and he was knocking from morning to dusk. That was aggressive, consistent prospecting, and he was selling a product that is $1,000. We're selling a product that's $12,000. Imagine if I went out door knocking from dawn to dusk as a real estate agent. Everyone I know who's ever done it seems to retire and stop doing it. But they retire with a lot of money. I know 2 agents right now that are in Homes Illustrated, and they used to be in Distincted Homes, and they're selling $1 million properties, and every day they door knock 10 houses. Every single day. They're making 7 figures in our business, right? Real quick, I'm gonna go over a list of ways that you, too, can make money in real estate. Are you ready for this? And don't worry, you don't have to write them down. I'll give you the list if you want them. Number 1, your SOI. We already talked about that. You may do it. Past clients. Why are past clients important? Okay, they've actually used your system and your service and shown that it's productive. Past clients have value in multiple ways because I use them to get more clients by showing that the process works. Withdrawn unconditional listings. Why are these a good source of business? A lot of people track expireds, but not a lot of people track withdrawns. Why do you think that is? Well, the expired show up in the system. So do the withdrawns. And what happens is I get so upset with the pricing of my home that I knew was overpriced that I call my agent and say, I don't want to sell anymore. Just take my home off the market. And they put it in WC status. And then WC status turns into WU status, hopefully later on down the road when they finally just release the listing. That's not an expired listing. That's a listing that was taken out of the MLS. Expired listings are a great source of business, and I think we'll see more and more of those. FSBOs we already know. Just listed, just sold calls. Anyone ever done these? This is a call that I make around a property. It doesn't have to be mine, by the way. It can be Ellie's listing because he's always got a few. And I call around it because, Ellie may not have to. And I say, hey, this is Chris Bishop with Signature Real Estate Group. I'm calling because we have a property at 123 Main Street. We have it listed for $300,000, and we'd like to know, who do you know that'd like to move into your neighborhood? Is that an easy phone conversation? Is it an easy door knocking conversation? Very much is, right? So just listed and just sold, I could call them more than once. It's usually effective. Farming. Geographic farming by using the numbers from my title company and the analytics to place my marketing dollars where I need to. Here's the one thing about farming that I love. Every single person that goes out and starts farming, they want to farm a master plan community. And we want to spend $10,000 a month, right? And how many months could you spend $10,000 without making $10,000? For me, it's a month and a half, right? So that's why I'm saying be effective, go to a much smaller knit community that has the same price that you're looking for, find 100 homes that you're marketing to, be consistent and have a long-term plan to do it, and don't compete against an agent that's already in a marketplace. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of subdivisions in Southern Nevada, and I can literally go in and see that Thomas has sold almost every house in this neighborhood, but right next door in the neighborhood next door to that, he hasn't. So instead of marketing against Thomas, I'm gonna go to the neighborhood next door where no one's got a market share. Yard signs and text systems still work, folks. If you have a sign that you can put out in front of your listing, if it's there long enough. Door knocking we talked about, making just cold calls, and anyone here ever called in a phone book? I got a phone book in the mail yesterday. I ran into Tyson's office and I said, I'm now providing team leads. And I threw it on his desk and I said, rip out as many pages as you want. What does a phone book tell you? Name, phone number, and address. What do Zillow leads tell you? Name, phone number, and address. Maybe. But they've already called them. Open houses. Open houses are how I built my business because I like to hold open a home and wait for the people to show up. And then I found out about high impact open houses. And that's where I door knock, prospect, cold call around a property to get people to show up to it, right? Short sales and REOs. Tom, right now, the REO market makes up about 4% of all the sales in our marketplace. It didn't explode to 35% like everyone was talking about, but what's 4% of 40,000? Is it 160? It can't be 16 of 4,000, it's gotta be 160. So if you're gonna go out in the REO market, you have your chance at 160 homes. Woo! Expired listing mailing campaign. Who here has ever gotten an American Express card in the mail? What's really cool about getting one?
Comes in a box.
Comes in a box. I mean, I've gotten credit cards in the mail in an envelope, you know, and you can feel it in there, that's kind of cool. This thing comes in a box, and it's hard to open. And it makes you feel like, wow, it must be cool when I get inside here. And then you open it up and the card's metal. Like I could throw it, hit something. It's a hell of an experience. And the question is, if you were to mail out a hell of an experience to expired listings, would that be pretty cool? Right? Do something that other people aren't doing, make the experience memorable, they might actually call you. Okay, we're gonna go through these fast. Drip campaigns, which Jason talked about. I have a CRM for that whole point of dripping information to people that I wanna keep involved with. Thank you cards. Who here sends thank you cards? Who do you send them to? People you're thankful for. Who do you send them to? Past clients, SOI. Fellow realtors. I love that you said that. I launched a campaign this year to send thank you cards to the co-op agents I work with. Do you know, it's amazing how someone treats you like crap the entire deal and they get a $25 Starbucks gift card in the mail from you, it changes their whole demeanor. Man, I want to work with you again. Right? I literally had a horrible deal with an agent, and I don't blame her, it's just her training. And I sent her a thank you, they got that, they're brokers. I sent her a thank you card, and she called me up, she says, you know, I'm really sorry we had such a headache in this deal. I hope the next one won't be like this, but thank you so much for thinking of me. That was better than anything I could have ever gotten. I had an agent, this is a true story, I had an agent that went to a home inspection, and I never taught her this, so I don't know where she got it from, it must have been Brian Buffini. And while she was there, the seller was there, and she says, hey, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for letting us into your house. Here's a thank you card. And the lady, she goes, wow, you're the first person to say thank you this entire transaction. She goes, you know, no one's shown me a house to buy, would you help me with that? She didn't solicit the client, all she did was say thank you. I was with an agent that was telling me about a prospecting group that he had. He had 16 agents that were brand new to prospecting. He was getting them out there, and for some reason they generate business, but they could never get the listing. So he took all 16 of them, it's a great thing to do with your team, and he put them into a listing presentation and said, you're gonna start, and then you're gonna start, and then you're gonna start, and you're gonna take over for him, and you're gonna take over for her. And they just went through the presentation. He says, we went through 15 people, and when we got to the 16th person, the kid that was there stopped the presentation and said, hey, listen, before I go any further, I got you a little something to say thank you for allowing me to come over to your house today. He says, I don't remember what all 15 people before that kid said, but all I remembered that is he was thankful for me allowing him to come into my house, and he's the one that got the listing. Thank yous. Print advertising, billboards, property previewing. Why would you preview property in a market like this?
Run into people that are wanting to bid.
I'm not gonna lie, I needed a deal. I trolled a new home site. Right? Because it's a place where buyers go. I stood in the parking lot with my name badge on and said, hi, I'm a realtor. And then I would go into properties, and sure enough, as soon as I go into a property, a buyer would come around the corner, they say, oh, you're a realtor? I said, no, I wear these for free. And I said, yeah, I'm a realtor. And they said, oh, we're out looking at homes. And I said, oh, that's fantastic. Do you have an agent who's here with you? No, we just decided to go out looking. Oh, I'm heading to the community down the street. You want to go with me? I've done that. I'm shameless. Okay, investor relations and tenants. So the one thing that's really cool about our MLS is that in the MLS, when we lease a property, what do we tell people? Say again? Well, we don't say that, but we say, here's the lease, it's 12 months, and it ends this date, and we actually record it, so you know when all of the tenants' leases are coming up. Could you go door knock them and say, here, I think your lease is up in 2 months, have you thought about buying this one? I thought about buying it all. Absentee owners, if you're from someplace other, who's from someplace other than Las Vegas? Ellie, where are you from?
Detroit.
Detroit, okay. Have you ever gone into the MLS and found out all the people that have addresses in Detroit that have homes here?
Yes,
Okay, you did?
I did.
Did you send them letters?
Yes,
How did it work?
not good.
Okay.
Detroit, come on.
How many times did you do it?
Once.
Once, okay, that's part of it. That's why it was only once. Who sent you? Who else lives somewhere else? Small town. I want a really small town.
Indiana,
Indiana, small town in Indiana?
from Indianapolis, it's not really that small.
That's not that small. That's pretty big. But
Los Angeles.
yeah, no, that won't work. Actually, wouldn't that be funny though? There's like 10,000 people. It's a farm.
A small town, Farrell, Pennsylvania, that I have actually, probably 8,000 people there now, but I've actually sold homes to 2 people that moved to Las Vegas.
Wow, I love that.
And
So,
that was through Facebook.
so the whole point is, if you're from somewhere else, I don't care where it is, at least do yourself the service of going into the MLS and finding out anybody that gets mail to that location and make friends with them. And here's how it works even better. Do you ever go back to Detroit? Have you ever knocked on the door of the people that you sent the letters to?
No, it's not.
Ooh, that freaked them the hell out, wouldn't it?
Yeah. This is Detroit.
Hi, I'm Ellie from my business card.
This is Detroit we're talking.
This is Detroit, so maybe don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, garage sales. Why do people hold garage sales? Because they're moving. Many storage facilities. My house is so cluttered, I have to get someplace else to put my crap. What do I need? A bigger house. I'm getting ready to sell my house because I think it's a good time. What do I start doing? I start decluttering and I move stuff to storage. And so storage facilities are great places to get clients. We said licensees in other states. So did you know there's 1.6 million realtors nationally? And the funny thing is that it's easy to find top producing agents elsewhere that you could make friends with for referrals. Civic groups and business groups that you're part of, and Roya, we used your example already with the chamber work that you did and knowing people out there, it's great. I had a kid that came from the car industry and he came to real estate, and so he felt, I don't know, it was his plan, he felt that he was just gonna go and put his business card on a few hundred cars a day. And that's what he did. He'd go out to random parking lots and put his business card on these cars. And he would do it every single day. And after a month of doing this, he was really upset because he was out of cards. And finally, about 2 months later, someone had one of those cards and they called him. And he's like, wow, it worked. I don't think he ever did it again. Car signs. Who has a car sign? Okay, why? Opportunity, mobile branding. If you are farming a neighborhood, that you're in the neighborhood all the time, and you're door knocking, and you're cold calling, and you're doing these things, and you have a car sign on your car, and you go through the neighborhood, what does it tell the people that live there? You're there all the time. I had a guy that decided that he was going to control Madera Canyon. Okay, that was his whole goal. He didn't care about the rest of Las Vegas, we could have it, but he was going to control Madera Canyon. And every day he door knocked Madera Canyon. I mean, he would, on his way home, after he'd get his kids, he'd door knock a few doors. And every time there was a listing that would be up for sale, he would call that agent, regardless of what company, and say, can I hold this listing open? Can I put my signs out in front of the listing? He had a Ford, the energy car, the Fusion, yes. And he wrapped it with his photo and his sign and it wasn't a magnet. I mean, it was permanent, right? And he wrapped this car and he would drive it through. His kids would sit down in the seats as low as they could as they go to school. He was extremely committed to controlling the neighborhood. He would have people stop him and say, I've been meaning to call you. That's commitment to controlling a farm, right? Got a few more of these. Retiring agents. Do agents, kind of somewhat get out of the business? Would be incredible if Ellie, after another 25 years in real estate, builds a database of 5,000 people, and then Ellie decides he's going to retire to a tropical island. What is Ellie probably going to do with that database? Well, now that you came to this class, what do most agents do? They just go away. They have all these people that were committed to them in their business and they just went away. Right? Does that make any sense? And so I should get with Ellie now, not then. There are probably 300 real estate agents every single quarter that decide that they're no longer going to do this business and they had somewhat of a successful business. I would probably argue at least 300. Okay? Client anniversary reminders for not only your clients, but the other clients. Ooh. Have you ever sent an anniversary reminder to the co-op agent's client? What do you know about them?
Where they live.
Where they live. And you have their address. You don't have their phone number because you're not doing that, but all you sent was a card a year later, or maybe it's 3 months or 6 months or 1 year later that says, hey, congratulations on the anniversary of your home. By the way, home prices have gone up pretty dramatically. Have any interest in selling? I know one top producing agent in Las Vegas that does this as a core of her business, and she gets a crap load of business from it. Okay, home builders are a great source of business, not because you're going to go there and sell any of their product, but because they have people that go there and they're looking to sell things elsewhere. 100 contact challenge, remember that? Did we ever have anyone that after 100 contacts didn't get a deal?
It's impossible.
It's impossible, right? 100 contacts, what's a contact? Hi, this is Chris with Signature. I'm calling to see if you click. Is that a contact?
No.
No. I have to physically talk to 100 people. Phone books are a great source to do this. After 100 people talk to you in one day, it's absolutely impossible not to get a deal. So if you're sitting here today or at home and you're wondering how am I going to get my business through today, 100 contact challenge every day until it happens. Buyer seminars, seller seminars. You ever had one of those? Yeah. Anyone ever been to a timeshare seminar? We'll give you 3 free nights and 2 hours of your time. Right? Did you really?
Yeah.
Those seminars brought in a lot of people, didn't they? Okay. So what I'm talking about are investor, buyer, or seller seminars where you actually sit down with an incredible lender. Shelly, come over here. You're an incredible lender. So this is the person I'm going to have them talk to, not necessarily me. And so I'm going to have some food because people like food. Don't go anywhere yet. I'm going to have food out, and we're going to talk. And Shelly's going to present them all the reasons why the mortgage market is an incredible place right now to buy a home. Right? Could you do that?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm going to present to them how I'm going to help them find the home when no one else can get a home right now. And all they have to do is sign here. I have my entire team in place to make it happen. Could you get people to come to that? Could you really? How would you get them to come to it? Food. I didn't say me, I said people. Okay, notice the defaults. Those are still happening, unfortunately. They're a good source of business. Here's one, corporate relocation. So you're an executive with Caesars and you're going to move from here to another part of Nevada, not Las Vegas. You wouldn't need me then. A lot of those companies provide relocation assistance where they put them into a program, and you can literally Google relocation companies in the United States, and it'll pop up about 30 to 40 companies that specialize in relocation.
Signature popped up on what I'm doing
Right?
now. I was like, oh, sweet, we're actually.
Homes that are free and clear because they got equity, online lead I do have online lead purchasing in here, and that's not a typo. If you're making good money and you have core business streams and you're not worried about not making your mortgage payment and you have a good cash flow, is it okay to put a little bit of money out into other things?
Of course.
Maybe, right? As long as it pencils. Okay, here's one that I love. Facebook ads, Yelp and Zillow reviews, Google ads, attorneys for probates and divorces, death and dismemberment, right? But the whole point is when you pass away, what happens to your asset? When you get divorced, what happens to your assets?
The wife gets
And the wife gets them all. We have international lead sites, so we have a lot of people here that focus on international buyers. That's a massive emerging market. I talked with someone the other day that went to the diversity convention, and they said that 70% of buyers in the next decade will be Hispanic. That's incredible as a stat. And so the whole thing is you could start placing ads out there to generate business. Specialty markets, when I got into business, I heard that you could get a niche or a specialty. And so mine, I wanted to have a golf course community specialty because I played golf and they live in communities. And I thought, how do I get this started? And so I was up in Red Rock and I thought, well, that's okay. I went up there, I got a membership list. They gave me one, sight unseen, no questions asked. And I started calling the people that lived there. And I said, hey, I'm a real estate agent. And I specialize in golf course communities. How many have you sold in here? None yet, but hopefully you're the first. But the whole point was it takes time and energy. And by being in those areas, I could generate that business, right? Last two, newsletters and market updates. Who here does a newsletter? Pretty effective? Why is it effective?
It goes out every exact same day.
Goes out every...
The same day every week.
You do it weekly?
Weekly.
Wow. Weekly. You do yours weekly? Monthly? Okay. Tell us more about that.
I just follow the Ricky Cruz style of it, so I literally just, I created my...
You have a system that does it?
No, I created a template, and every single Tuesday...
You were in yearbook in high school, weren't you?
It goes out every single... and that's where every single contact goes in. So
What do you put in the newsletter?
Just Basically, every week it has the weekly updated numbers
Okay, weekly updated numbers for the entire
for
market?
the entire market.
Okay.
It has basically some type of article that I write up.
Okay, article about the market or you or your team or anything?
Selling, and then if I ever get any kind of award or any of that type of stuff, I'll throw it in there too.
Perfect.
And then there's one article that I just copy and paste directly from Keeping Current Matters.
So you pull an article out of something else that makes sense and you give credit to them and post it. So the whole point is it's weekly, consistent marketing that keeps your group tied to you.
Yep.
And you get deals from it every year?
Yeah.
How many deals do you think you get from it?
Oh, this year alone, just my newsletter, I think I got like 4.
4 deals alone from his newsletter.
How long does it take for you to do?
How long does it take to do?
10, 15 minutes.
10, 15. Janet, you should have him help you with yours.
Yeah.
Here's the whole point. I had a gal that got into real estate, had never done sales. She was a concierge in a high-rise, right? The one thing that she had when she left, which was hers because she created it, was she had the name, address, phone number, and email for everyone that lived in the high-rise. And she said, how do you think I should market to these people? And I said, create a newsletter about everything that's going on in the high-rise every single month. And she goes, really? That's all I have to do? And I said, let's start there. So she created this newsletter personally that she did in Canva or some other system. And she put in the available properties and the market stats. She put in events that were going on in the high-rise. And she sent it out by email, which saved her a lot of money versus mailing. And she sent it out every single month. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, she got her first buyer question. 5th month, she got her first listing. At this point, she's been in the business now 4 years. She's listed 37 properties in that high-rise. Highest one being $3 million, all from a newsletter. The other thing I like to add is local business vendors. You're holding an open house, and you're in that community out in the marketplace, and there's this mom and pop restaurant down the street that's struggling, right? And they actually serve pretty good food. I've tried it. I go in the mom and pop restaurant and said, hey, I'd like to highlight your business. Would you be willing to offer a coupon for anyone that I get to find it and see it and bring it in? Absolutely. And so in my newsletter, I put an article about this mom and pop business that's in the community where they're at and the things that are going on and the history behind it, and I put this coupon. Does it take the focus necessarily off of me selling something and make it about the people? It does, absolutely. And it's an easy way to get people to follow you because they always want coupons, right?
After that was-
Jason, I'm really glad you were here today.
After that, was the restaurant super happy that you're able to drive the business and help drive your business?
Not only were they super happy, but for my next 3 open houses, they provided a food platter. Now, I did eat most of it, but they provided a food platter that I put in my open house. But it was a heck of a great idea because every neighborhood where I'd go to hold these open houses, there'd be these local businesses that are struggling to make it. We had an agent in our team in Utah, and she had a client that was a nail technician, and she worked from her home. And she wrote up a whole story, an article about this gal who created her own home-based business. She put some photos in of these unique nail designs that she did. This lady from that newsletter picked up 7 new clients. Do you think that real estate agent earned a client for life? Absolutely, and it was something that she just did about them. It was very easy to do. So here's my whole wrap-up of the day, and I thank you for your little bit extra time. If you have a business plan that creates your database that gets it working, there's no better time than to start right now, right? Because don't be 20 years down the road and still have a crap database that doesn't work. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. Once you get it working, even if you screw it up down the road, it will give you residual business every single year because our business is momentum-based. Every day you should have a hunting and a farming activity that you're making work in your business. And again, this list is all of those activities, and I'll provide it to you if you just send me a text in the app. I'll send you back the list and give you those things you can do. Did you find this helpful? Yeah. Okay, so now I gave you all of these the ways you can make money in real estate. Todd next week is going to give you the way to track your numbers and to actually create a financial plan about how many calls, how many contacts, how to make that process come together. Now, here's the downside. Does this sound like a lot of work? Does it? Come on, be honest. It's a lot of work. I mean, this is 8 hours a day almost. I signed up into real estate to talk with people. 12 hours he was door knocking, right? Robert, you have a pretty successful business right now in real estate. Do you door knock 12 hours a day? No. Have you in real estate?
No. Because there's more money, the stakes are higher.
So let me fill in the last gap. If what I said didn't make sense, if what I said sounded overwhelming, if what I said seemed like it was a lot of work, We have coaches here at the company that will help you put a plan in place. All you have to do is reach out to Brandon, myself, Todd, or Tom, or Janet, and let us know that you need help, and we will do one free coaching session to show you how to do this plan, how to get it working, and then we'll sell you on coaching, because that's what we do. But we want to help you be successful. We want to help you make more money, and we're happy to help you put a plan in place. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thomas, thank you for sharing today. I really appreciate all you guys that helped me out. By Jason, I really appreciate you being here. I really do. Thank God Delinda was here to help answer my questions. Guys, have a great, productive week, and thanks for being here. Don't forget, next week, we'll have a great business planning session. Thanks so much.